It's about that time of day again here, boys and girls. Welcome back. Welcome back. Joseph James, School of Trade, Sideways Markets. Welcome back, guys. Our nightly newsletter for the 17th day, the 6th month of the year 2014. Here's your nightly newsletter for June 17th, 2014. Boy, we are cruising to the month of June. I've got a special newsletter for you guys and gals tonight, jam-packed with some good stuff. What happened today in the markets? We got 3 things on tonight's schedule. First of all, we'll take a look at what happened in the markets today. Now, I don't want to toot my own. Okay, I'll just go ahead and toot away. We nailed it yesterday, didn't we? 3 for 3. Crude tumbles off the highs. Gold drops off the highs right to our seller target at 1260. Russell pushes higher. Russell went an inch away from that prior week high, just as we expected. And that's all you're going to hear about that. If you watched last night's newsletter, if you watch the newsletter every night, you don't need me to tell you how incredible we've done the past few weeks. Ever since the beginning of the year, we have been just on fire. Last night's newsletter was no different. If you watch last night's newsletter, you're going to see exactly what happened today. Pretty much exactly what happened today. All right, awesome day. Absolutely incredible Tuesday in the trade room. This afternoon, we got some great moves this afternoon. Bottom line, what happened today? Crude comes off the highs. You know, I heard something about Iraq, but it seems everybody's forgotten about it. We'll talk about that in a moment. Gold tumbles off the high. Gold went right to the seller's target. We'll take a look at that in a moment. And, of course, Russell. We knew we were bullish on the Russell. All you had to do was jump in. We made some money this morning buying on the Russell, selling on the Russell, buying on the Russell. What an exciting day. After we take a look at what happened today in the markets, all right, we're going to go in and get ready for tomorrow. We've got some big news tomorrow on the schedule. FOMC tomorrow. Crude inventories tomorrow. And hold on. Drum roll, please. We got Wacky Wednesday. It's gonna be a wacky Wednesday, because this ain't your average Wacky Wednesday. This is quadruple witching Wacky Wednesday tomorrow. Hold on tight for more information there. And last but not least, we're going to finish up the call tonight, rolling up those sleeves, opening up those charts, and I'm going to give you 3 strategies to be ready for whatever the FOMC announcement throws at you tomorrow. By the end of tonight's newsletter, you're going to know how incredible this has been for us over the last few weeks. You're going to be ready for the news tomorrow, and you're going to be prepared whether the market goes up, goes down, or goes sideways. You ready to rock and roll? You got your helmet on? Did you stretch? You hydrated? Get some Gatorade or something, some electrolytes, some coconut water maybe, right? Some organic chia seeds. You ready? Okay, let's rock and roll. Before we jump into those charts, though, 3 important things. If you're not watching the video right now on the blog, if you're on the YouTube page right now, make sure you click that link below the video. Get over to sidewaysmarkets.com. Over at sidewaysmarkets.com, there's a reason why I want you guys over here. First of all, right below the video, you can download all of today's charts. Those charts are pretty important. If you're a student with me in the trade room, we're going to bring those charts tomorrow morning and use those tomorrow at 8 a.m. for our prep. If you're not in my trade room, I do question I'm just kidding with you. If you're not in my trade room, I'm wondering why you're not in my trade room tomorrow morning. But at the same time, I understand. Grab those charts, pause the video right now, download the charts, and have them ready for you tomorrow. Oh, and one more thing. Make sure you send those charts to a friend, right? Don't forget to forward this information to a friend. Don't go hogging all the money-making ideas for yourself. That's one of the beautiful things about the market, right? The well never runs dry, right? You can't get to the bottom of this well. The market just keeps on giving you more winning opportunities. So make sure you share with a friend. Download those charts. Second thing, upper left-hand corner. Maybe you're wondering how we make profit on these newsletter ideas. Maybe you're wondering. Come out and see me tomorrow afternoon. I have a special invitation, a free pass for you to come into my trade room. I don't need any money from you. You don't need to be a member. All I need is your name and your email address. and you're going to be amazed how simple this can really be. We keep it really simple here at School of Trade, and I think you're going to love what you see tomorrow afternoon. So definitely upper left-hand corner. Take me up on that offer, guys. You're going to learn more in my trade room tomorrow afternoon in an hour and a half than you will all week this week in all those other random chat rooms you find on the internet. All right? Last but not least, head on down, lower left-hand corner. Take a look at my ugly mug down there. All I need is your name and your email address, guys and gals, and I'm going to send you a copy of my newsletter every evening at 8 p.m. when it goes live. No more checking back on the blog. No more checking back on YouTube. I'm going to email you once it goes out. All righty? 3 important things. Get over to sidewaysmarkets.com. I won't let you down. Let's get started. Moving forward here. Now, I'll bet you guys knew exactly what I was going to say right now, didn't you? I'll bet you did. I'll bet you can put the words right in my mouth. No, you know what? At this point in the game, everybody knows that I was right. I'm kidding with you. I don't want to be that arrogant. A true professional trader has always been humbled by the market, so we know we're only as good as our last trade. Got to keep the emotions under control here. Bottom line is, though, we were pretty much correct. I'm not going to say I was right on this, but I think you can tell. Okay, yeah, I was on the right side of this. We'll say that much, okay? Just don't come back and bite me there, Crude. I know, right? Last time I got too arrogant, it cost me. So we know, okay, news came out last week, fear-mongering, yada, yada, yada. Last night's newsletter, I told you I was expecting one more day of this chop and slop, and I thought that was exactly what we were going to get today. Gap down, that should be the first clue, right? This morning we gapped down. That's the first red flag, wah, right? Gap down overnight. Clearly the Euros had it correct. Clearly the Aussies had it correct. Clearly the traders in Singapore had it correct because they gapped it down overnight. The U.S. traders come in and they give us, I love this, a token print. The term token print comes from the old days when gold coins were used, right? And a token was made of wood or made of copper or made of bronze. In other words, it wasn't gold. The term token print means a fake print, a fake out, right? A fake move. When you hear a trader say that was a token print, it usually means it was 1 tick, 2 ticks higher before it collapsed, right? So when someone says token print, that term goes back to the Middle Ages when they used to use gold coins, right? We still obviously have gold coins, but back then you look at a gold coin, compare it to a wooden coin, right, or a bronze coin, right, and it was a token compared to a real coin, right? You know, tokens you put in the arcade games. Okay, so a token print. So, of course, the buyers in the U.S. come in, they push it up, can't even get to that 77.22. And if you remember, this was actually the high of yesterday's range, just about the top of the sell zone that we defined in the trade room this morning. Remember that this morning, guys? We defined a sell zone. It was right at the top of that sell zone. It wasn't the prior week high. It was right above that sell zone. And sure enough, we watched it right at lunch just go boom, right? Collapsed. Awesome selling opportunities as we got below the levels we gave you guys last night. So the blood's in the water, boys and girls, right? The blood is in the water. Unless something drastic happens here, I don't see any reason why we're not continuing this move down to that big gap, which everybody thought I was completely crazy saying we'd get there this time last week, if I recall, right? I was the crazy JJ talking about selling 107 last week. I know, it feels good to be crazy. I'll be crazy all day long. I'll be crazy rich. No problem at all. You can call me crazy all you want. Right? Contrarian ideas. You're not going to get rich by following the crowds. Well, I shouldn't say that completely right because the wisdom of crowds, the crowds are always right. I'll leave that alone. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Bottom line, though, nice, healthy move off these highs. I love the gap down. I love the token print in the U.S. right before they say, see ya, suckers, and we head right back below. Very important. We close below Tuesday, Monday, Friday, Close below Friday's lows. Very important. I can smell that 105.68 right now. Now, I can't be too confident because we still have this issue with Iraq, lingering in the background. And like I told you, that 72-hour news cycle is coming right around the corner here. Right about now, all the advertisers are calling CNBC saying, hi, I need you to stir the pot a little bit more. Can you fan this flame? Can we make up another crisis so I can sell some more advertising? You know that's what's happening right now. You know the producers at CNBC are trying to find something to get you scared about, to get you watching their shows again. I know. I don't trust any of those television stations because what do? They sell advertising. That's why there's absolutely no advertising on my website whatsoever. I've only got one master, and that's price action. All right? And that's you guys. All right, not the advertisers. So we know we might be seeing a little bit more fear-mongering going into tomorrow. But right now on Crude, I'm amped up here. I'm excited. This is exactly why we love our job. This is exactly why I love being a trader. The whole world says we're in trouble. No, we're not. Put down the barrels of crude. Look at your charts. Look at what the price action is telling you. Don't let your emotions trade for you, and you're going to make some money. All right? Come out and see me anytime in the trade room, and I'll walk you right through here how we traded crude today. Bearish gap down, closes at the lows. Volume now still in the middle. We spent most of the session here today. We spent the majority of the session up above this 106, or 106.61, I should say. So we know we have potential for a move back up here. So I'm not going to say guarantee, right? We can't guarantee this thing drops lower. But like I said, late last week, early this week, if we don't get another crisis, right, another shocker headline, this price is going to 105.68. And then, guys, we have a big gap. That's a big gap down to 104.81. And you know those gaps, they love to get filled. I'm not going to call 104.81 just yet because tomorrow's FOMC day. But I'm definitely saying right now, unless we see another news event that comes out, this price goes lower. This price goes lower, right? And I'm so glad that we get an example to show you guys from late last week to middle of the week this week of what a professional trader does. We don't trade our emotions. We certainly don't listen to that shaved head guy behind the desk at CNBC yelling and screaming. We certainly don't listen to those bozos. We listen to the market. We listen to our trading plan. Let's keep going. So crude oil looking bearish here right now. Looking good here, though, for those sellers coming in tomorrow. We'll see what happens tomorrow morning. Moving over to the gold now. On the gold, look at these charts on gold right now. Well, we're leading into FOMC right now, which means gold, if there's one market that's going to be affected by it, it's going to be gold. Yesterday, remember what happened yesterday? We saw a big gap up, collapsed right back to 1275. Today, big gap down. Now, what actually happened was this was a big short off of the level I gave you guys last night. Hold on tight for that. I'm going to show you another scenario that we nailed this time on gold. Gold went right to our seller's target that we defined in last night's newsletter. Don't take my word for it. Go back and watch last night's newsletter if you didn't watch it, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. But here is exactly what I talked about last night. Remember how I said yesterday we were balanced, right? We finished right back where we started, gap up, closed down, right back to the prior week high, gap down, look where we closed. Look at this, right back to where we came from. Now again, this shouldn't be a surprise because we get FOMC tomorrow, right? FOMC, if there's one market that's affected by FOMC, you're looking at it, boys and girls. Gold is going to be very, very rocky on FOMC. We'll talk about that again in a moment once we open up that chart. But as you can see here though, very healthy range. Another well-fed range on gold today. We gap lower, that's bearish. Doesn't last very long. Whoop, right back up pretty much where we had left off last week. So no question at all right now. We are bearish, but we're very balanced here going into FOMC tomorrow morning. All right, so be aware on gold. I'm going to show you my strategy for gold, but this tells me right now, volume back at the high, closing at the high. Almost the exact opposite of what we saw yesterday. We're right back at that 1272 to 1275 area. Tells me gold is very balanced right now going into tomorrow. Last but not least here, on the Rusty, what happened today? Well, once again, 3 for 3. We nailed crude. We nailed gold. Here's the Rusty. Now, I'm not sure if you were listening last night, but I believe my exact words were something along the lines of, well, just to make it easy on you, I put it right up here, just so you could see it. See, I got no shame. I got no shame. Make sure you tip your weight on the way out. Last night I said my target is the prior week high, and I wasn't exactly correct on that. You know, I was 8 ticks off after all. You know, we can't all be perfect every day. Okay, so if you're looking for a reason to heckle me tonight, okay, feel free to heckle me about this one. I was 8 ticks off that prior week high. I know. I'm working hard. I'm going to keep practicing. I'll get better as we go, I promise, okay? All kidding aside, though, very bullish on Russell. We knew this last night. If you missed this move today on the Russell, it gave you 2 tries. In fact, it actually gave you 3 tradable opportunities. There was one going higher, which just ran right the hell away from you. I mean, you literally had to run after it. It was so fast. The easy sell off the high, remember there was a sell zone there. I'll show you guys that in a second. And then right back up again. It gave you 3 shots there. It gave you 3 chances. All right? We made some great money in the Russell today in our trade room. Fantastic day all around. The Russell was definitely one of the easier ways to make your money today. So very bullish, 167 ticks. This is the type of price action we've been waiting for, Russell. Where you been for the last week, right? Look at this, just junk, right? This whole pullback. We waited. We got down to the buy zone. Guys, if you followed this newsletter over the past week and a half, don't let me distract you from counting all the money you've made, right? Excellent trading on the Russell. Bullish move. We closed yesterday near the highs. We opened this morning near the highs. We closed today near the highs. The volume is near the highs. Broken record. I'm going to go ahead and say we're bullish. The one thing that we didn't get was to get and close above the prior week high. And going into tomorrow's FOMC report at 2 p.m., it's tough to say exactly what comes next, because if there's another market, definitely not as crazy correlated as gold, but the equity markets are definitely going to be impacted tomorrow by FOMC. All right, because everybody's wondering, are we going to keep making new all-time highs? What's the next shoe to drop, et cetera, et cetera. So we're going to hear about interest rates tomorrow. That will affect equities. We're going to hear about inflation projections tomorrow. That will affect equities. So the only thing that would really slam this thing shut would be if we closed above the prior week high. All right? We didn't, but we did close, as you can see here, above last, what is that? We got Monday, Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday. So we did close above Tuesday's high. Bottom line, we're definitely bullish here right now on the Russell, but hold on tight. I've got a strategy for you for tomorrow's FOMC report. All right? Now we know what happened today on the markets. Crude looking a little bit bearish. Again, we're not out of the woods yet on crude because of the FOMC tomorrow, and because, in my humble opinion, tomorrow on crude, we're probably going to be running into that 72-hour news cycle where they're going to be fear-mongering again tomorrow. So we'll see what happens. I have no problem buying crude. Let's just be honest here. I have no problems buying crude. But if you want me to buy the highs, you got the wrong guy. Let some other poor sucker buy the highs. That was the reason why I wasn't buying last week. It wasn't that I didn't think price could go higher. It was just I'm not going to buy the highs. Now we've come off these highs, and so next week, or should I say tomorrow, if we do get that gasoline thrown on the fire, no pun okay, yes, there was a pun intended there. If they throw the gasoline on the fire tomorrow with some news, right, some news releases, some fear mongering, right, I will get right back to buying crude again, right? I work very close to my home. I don't have to fill up my gas tank. It doesn't matter to me if crude oil is $125 a barrel or if it's 90. I don't care. So on the Russell, we're definitely bullish, but we're going to have to be a pullback here now. So hold on tight. I'm going to give you guys more information on that. And then again, gold, careful on gold for tomorrow. Let's take a look at what we have in the schedule for tomorrow. If you've been living under a rock or if you haven't watched our newsletter here this week, you know that we have 3 big scenarios here for you this week. What are they? Scenario 1, FOMC, tomorrow afternoon. What's scenario 2? Scenario 2, quadruple witching, right? That's right. And then, of course, tomorrow we've got your crude oil inventories tomorrow, right? So we got FOMC, we got quadruple witching, and we got inventories tomorrow. 3 big things we got to worry about going into tomorrow. Take a look at the news here, starting with tonight. I want to make sure I'm ready for whatever comes my way tomorrow. Starting down bottom here, lower left-hand corner, we've got your news out of the Bank of Japan. We've got your retail trade. We got your Bank of Japan meeting minutes tonight at 7:50. That's going to kickstart the Asian session for you into the London session tomorrow. Speaking of London for tomorrow, no major news in London. No major news in London starting tomorrow morning. Only thing we have to worry about tomorrow, we got inventories at 10:30, FOMC at 2 o'clock, and then late tomorrow night, we got the GDP out of our good friends down under, right, the Kiwis. We'll see their GDP from New Zealand. So we know that we've got some big news here for tomorrow. Think about what day of the week, what week of the month, what month of the year. First of all, we know the news for tomorrow, 10:30, 2 o'clock, and then 6:45, right? What day of the week? It's a Wednesday. What do we know about Wednesdays? We know that Wednesdays are typically inventory days. As long as Monday isn't a holiday, we will see the inventory report on Wednesday. Now, on Tuesday evening, we get the API number. The API number just came out with an 18-month low. That means inventories are low right now on crude oil futures. So we've got a little bit of a bullish report coming out tonight from the API number. We'll have to wait and see what tomorrow's news looks like. Whatever the news comes out as, though, what you need to remember for tomorrow is at 10:30 a.m., all hell breaks loose in crude oil futures. I'm going to be sitting on my hands tomorrow from 10:15 until at least 10:40. Be very careful trading around the inventory report tomorrow morning. Again, that's 10:15 to 10:40. 15 minutes before the news, at least 10 minutes after the news. The key tomorrow morning is staying patient and waiting to see what the reaction is after that inventory number comes out. And don't force this thing tomorrow morning. If it's not moving before 10:40, don't force it. All right, you're going to be really regretful when you get a trade that happens at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning and you can't take it because you've already spent your bullets in the form of losses because you tried to force moves on crude because you were over aggressive trying to short the thing like we talked about tonight. So be careful tomorrow ahead of 10:30. Be patient after 10:30. Trust me, this happens every single week. Wednesday morning, we come into our trade room. We're always a little bit disappointed. We can't really trade crude before 10:30. It's the way it goes. But then sure enough, wham, after 10:40 comes out, we get our big move of the morning and we make all our money between 10:30 and 11:30 a.m. on Wednesday mornings. All right? You can quote me on this tomorrow. I hope I'm wrong. I hope we have some great personality before 10:30. It just doesn't happen very often. So be patient. Be selective before 10:30, and then again after 10:40, then I'm looking for trading opportunities. If you want me to help you out tomorrow in real time, get in my trade room tomorrow morning early. We'll go through the entire prep on crude, and we'll take a look at it after the news comes out. Then we move down to 2 o'clock. This is where all the fireworks show up tomorrow. This is what everyone's waiting on this week, the FOMC meeting announcement. Now, as I'm recording this right now, I'm listening to news chatter right now. Everyone's calling for interest rate hikes a year from now. Everybody's calling for a revised inflation and unemployment rate target. All these analysts are on the edge of their seats waiting to hear what happens tomorrow at the FOMC meeting announcement. Now, here's what to expect. This happens 8 times a year. The Federal Open Market Committee, the meeting began yesterday, and of course tomorrow it'll finish up at 2 o'clock. You are going to see the best price action early in the morning. Okay? The best price action ahead of FOMC is early in the morning. So get at it early. If you're trading crude, like I said, be careful until after the news comes out. Right? A little bit of a double whammy there. Traders will be trading cautiously, especially the large block traders. If you're trading $1 billion, you are not going to be participating tomorrow before this news comes out. You'll wait until after the news comes out. So things will slow down early. Lunchtime will start early. And people will come back early to get in front of that news announcement at 2 o'clock. Once the news is released, it is usually very violent. In fact, I would never recommend a new trader trade anything even close to FOMC day after 2 o'clock. My rule of thumb is, for my clients, is if you've seen 6 of them. If you've seen 6 FOMC announcements, then you are aware of the danger that you put your account in. I personally don't even see the point in trading FOMC. It takes me completely out of my range. It takes me completely out of my comfort zone. I don't need the money. We make plenty of money with this. So unless I'm trying some fancy technique, why am I wasting my time and energy when in all reality, I might get a big winning trade out of it? But again, that doesn't really help me out very much. The worst case scenario tomorrow is I try to trade after 2 o'clock. I lose a bunch of money. I lose the money I made today. It doesn't make any sense. So I would recommend, if you're a new trader or if you're somewhat intelligent, I would trade right around it. There's a reason why professionals don't mess with this stuff. It's unpredictable. You can't anticipate what the reaction is going to be. And even if you can, the liquidity is so low that you put your trade account at risk. Is it worth it? If you want to gamble, go to Vegas. Right? I'm sure there's plenty of offshore casinos these days on the internet. Go there. Gamble there. Go do some binary options. Go trade some CFDs, right? If you want to gamble. If you want to be a professional, avoid this time of the day tomorrow. All right? That's all I'm going to say. But I'll tell you right now, though, don't be surprised if this thing gets violent. We're talking scary violent at 2 o'clock. Then, the best time, if you do want to trade it, is going to be while the press conference is going on. All right? Remember last week at the ECB report? I know it's a long time ago, but remember last week at the ECB? The ECB report last Thursday. When were the best moves? During the press conference. They are always during the press conference. So they make their announcement at 2 o'clock, all hell breaks loose, and then at 2:30, the press conference starts, and the moves settle down, and you can trade it. So, let's recap. Tomorrow morning, Wednesday morning, inventories, 10:30. Be careful trading crude before 10:30. Look for the moves after 10:30, after 10:40. FOMC at 2 o'clock. You're borderline insane trading the 2 o'clock news. That's all I'll say about it. Stay patient for 2:30. After the press conference begins, you'll start seeing tradable moves. One last thing. As if we could find one more thing to cram into this. Tomorrow's Wacky Wednesday. Wacky Wednesday is the Wednesday before OPEX. If you're an asset manager, you're not going to wait until options expire on Friday. You're going to begin doing it tomorrow. So tomorrow is Wacky Wednesday. The Wednesday ahead of OPEX. But wait. This is not your average OPEX. This is the third Friday. Hold on here. 1, 2, 3. Third Friday of every 3, 6, 9, 3 months. Right? Actually, I messed that up, right? It's December, March, June, September, and then December is hanging out over there somewhere on the right-hand side. So we are in the third week of every 3 months. That's quadruple witching. You can find a link about that to learn more about quad witching on our blog right below tonight's video. But guys, if there's one day this week that you should definitely be concerned about, it's tomorrow. Tomorrow is the day that your mom warned you about when you were a kid. All right? Yeah. Tomorrow should have a warning label on it. Might be detrimental to your financial health tomorrow. Be careful. Wacky Wednesday. FOMC day. Inventory day. This just gets, literally, right? If you look up disaster waiting to happen in the dictionary, this is the day you see. So be careful. Now you know the scenario. Be patient. Be selective. And guys, there's no medal tomorrow for being a winner tomorrow, right? There's no award for making the most amount of trades tomorrow. All right? You made a bunch of money this week so far with us. Keep that money tomorrow. It doesn't make any sense to force it. So as you guys know, tomorrow morning what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my trade room at 8 o'clock. I'm going to grab all of our members in the trade room. We're going to set up our alarm clock for our news, and we're going to watch the price action. If the price action looks anything like what I'm expecting tomorrow, we're going to sit on hands and be very patient. I suggest you do the same thing. A lot of traders I talk to say they have a difficult time sitting on hands, difficult time being patient. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to keep you out of trouble. See, most people think that my membership is to help you make money. Well, it is. But we all know making money in trading is really the easy part. What's the hard part? Keeping it. And that's where I come into play. That's where I use my 14 years experience to keep you out of trouble. I had a client email me last week saying that I had saved him over $250,000 in losses this year. I would say that pays my membership fee. Absolutely. Guys, be careful tomorrow. That's what's on the schedule for you guys tomorrow morning into tomorrow afternoon. Be careful. Now that we know that tomorrow is a disaster waiting to happen, now let's start to put the pieces together here and look at what type of strategies we have. The Russell, you can see here today, did exactly what we thought it was going to do here. Went higher here, back up, a little bit of pit stop here. We're probably going to see a bit of a range-bound market here until we get through FOMC tomorrow. Our daily chart in the Russell. This was great, though. Moving forward here on the Russell right now, you can see we went up, we pulled back. At this time last night, we were sitting right here. And my exact words were, you better be ready to buy this thing. I gave you guys a target at 69.3. We have not made it to our second target at 77.3 or on the way up. So here's the problem, though. I am definitely bullish on the Russell, but what do you see right now, guys? What's the problem? Are we priced at a premium or a discount? At a premium. What do I do when prices are at a premium? I sell. But we're in an uptrend right now, which means selling in an uptrend, yep, lower percentage. I can do it, but I don't like to trade against the trend. I'd rather trade with the trend, right? So what are my options right now when price is at a premium? I either take a low percentage short or I stay patient for price to pull back and give me a chance to buy it again at a discount. At this stage in the game, there's absolutely no reason for me to buy at the highs. We have proven this idea over many, many weeks, months in 2014. We already know it's not worth buying the highs. I've shown you guys dozens of examples of this over the past few weeks alone. Stay patient. The real money was made buying down here. That was yesterday. Now we take our profit up at the high and we got to stay patient. So we know where we're going, right? We know we're pushing higher. But that doesn't mean I want to jump in right now. If I was to buy right now, what's going to happen is we're going to get a pullback. All the smart buyers are going to wait to buy it after a pullback. Meanwhile, I'm going to be hating life because I thought I wanted to get long, Price pulls back, and I'm in pain. I'm losing money on that buy. And then you know what's going to happen. If I buy right here, I watch it stop me out just to go right where I want it to go. It's exactly what happens to every rookie in the market that buys the high. All right? So, right now we're bullish on the Russell, but we're at a premium. What's a trader to do? Well, let's take a look. We move forward now to our faster anchor chart, and here we go. If we're looking for places to buy, I've got 65 even, 63.2, 60.4, 61.1, right? The list goes on. There's actually quite a few buy levels here. So what we're going to do is we're going to wait for price to pull back, and then once it commits and goes, we'll be a buyer. I've got targets up ahead here, 75.7, 78.3, 83.8. Tomorrow is FOMC, so be ready for anything. What if price goes sideways? If it goes sideways, mark up that sideways range, buy the lows, sell the highs. What if price goes lower? If price goes lower, I'm staying patient. I'm waiting for price to gain some momentum here and go back up again. If price goes lower, I can take the short. But again, why would I waste my time doing that? Why not just stay patient and wait to buy it? Right? If you can't stay patient, you won't be in this game very long. I'll tell you that right now. Okay, so be patient if price goes lower. Because if it goes lower after the FOMC report comes out, it may just torch right through this. Okay, don't be surprised if it does. Tomorrow has a very big question mark surrounding it because of the FOMC report. That's why you got to be ready for anything. So if it goes lower, I'm going to wait for price to bounce and goes higher. If it doesn't, I've got a bigger problem on my hands, and we'll readjust at that time. That's why you got to come out and see me tomorrow in the trade room. If price goes higher here, well then of course we'll start buying pullbacks. We'll look for the wave patterns, right, and we'll buy. I would want though to wait for price to pull back so I can look to buy it as early as that 65 even. You've got my areas to buy on the Russell. You've got my targets above on the Russell. You know what the plan is if it goes lower. You know the plan if it goes higher. And you know the plan if it goes sideways. If you want updated information, if you want real-time information tomorrow morning, come in and join me in the trade room, and I'll show you exactly what we're seeing at that time. Let's keep moving. Over to the gold. Now, last night on gold, we talked about how gold was right inside that sell zone, and we were bearish on gold. Okay, that was a chart from last night. And sure enough, look what happens here. Now again, I'm going to take out my old horn here, and I'm going to toot it away right now. I'm going to toot the horn away right now. This is another example here. We told you guys to sell the 78.5. I gave you 1260 exactly for the seller's target, and that's exactly where it went. So very, very accurate call there on gold. Now here's the problem. Gold has a very big question mark next to it ahead of tomorrow's FOMC, so be careful on this tomorrow. We're right inside the middle here. I've got sell zone above, buy zone below. I got all the key moving averages are on top of each other. I really don't have an idea of where this goes tomorrow. All right, I'd be lying to you right now if I told you I was confident in direction tomorrow. The big thing is usually the day before or the day leading into FOMC, usually we go sideways. So I would expect to see a sideways range here overnight. So buy the lows, sell the highs, leading into tomorrow's 2 o'clock FOMC. Find the low, find the high, buy the lows, sell the highs, stay the heck away from the middle. And just be careful on gold tomorrow because gold, again, is going to be the big mover after non-farm payrolls are released. We're definitely still bearish in the long term, but tomorrow in the short term, it's a big firework display coming out for FOMC. So I'm going to expect a range-bound market ahead of the news tomorrow morning. Be prepared to buy the lows, sell the highs. If for some strange reason I'm wrong about that, and if the sellers continue to grab this thing overnight, I will definitely follow that trend. So if I had to guess right now, I would guess short. But historically speaking, usually we go range bound ahead of FOMC announcements. So starting right now, buy that low at 1260, sell that high at 1285, but get the heck out of the way of gold as of about noon, maybe 11 o'clock tomorrow morning, it's going to get really nasty ahead of tomorrow's FOMC report. Moving forward here, the last anchor chart here on gold, and again, you can see here, I don't have a lot to work with here. There's that 1260 all the way back down. We nailed that short on gold. Very accurate call from last night's newsletter. Now here we are, right in the middle of this range. And again, I don't have much to give you here right now because I don't trust this price action leading into FOMC tomorrow morning. So find that range, buy the lows, sell the highs. And again, if I'm wrong about this range-bound market, if this thing takes off to the downside, we are still long-term bearish. So I will get back to selling short. But again, I'm not expecting that because of tomorrow's FOMC report. So I'm going to be a little more conservative on gold tomorrow until we see what comes out after 2 o'clock. And even then, I may not be able to touch gold tomorrow because it gets very, very violent. And we just don't need to go risking our hard-earned capital on a day like that. We just don't need to do it. We make so much money on every other day of the year. 8 times a year, I'll gladly play conservative with the FOMC report come out tomorrow. Now, moving to crude. Crude oil finally pulling off these highs. We're still waiting here, as you can see. We're still waiting for the big pullback back to our 104.50 area. We've been waiting for that for almost a full week now. I shouldn't say 2 weeks. It was last Thursday morning we made that big jump up, and it was Friday, Monday, Tuesday. We're just kind of lollygagging here as we hang out and wait for the pullback. You know me. I've been bearish here on crude ever since last Thursday afternoon. I'm just waiting patiently right now to get down to this symmetry support so I can keep buying this baby if it wants to go higher. We did get important news tonight. It was a very large draw on inventories in the API number. We have inventories tomorrow. We have Wacky Wednesday tomorrow. We have FOMC tomorrow. Again, if you need one more reason for this to be a potential disaster waiting to happen on crude tomorrow, let me know. I mean, 3 big issues tomorrow on crude. I think the big thing tomorrow is, oh my goodness, how could I forget about this? Tomorrow's rollover too. Oh my goodness. So this just went into borderline insanity complex tomorrow on crude. Think about this. We got rollover. I almost forgot. We have rollover tomorrow on crude. We saw it sharing volume here right now. We got rollover on crude to the 814. We've got Wacky Wednesday of OPEX. We've got inventories at 10:30. And just to keep the action fun, we get some FOMC at 2 o'clock. Now that sounds about as fun as an appendectomy, right, in Tijuana. All right, I'll tell you that much right now. Be careful tomorrow on crude. And again, if you're looking for real-time analysis, see me tomorrow morning, and I'll tell you exactly what I'm seeing. But we will have rollover tomorrow, though, right on the 18th, as I was talking about earlier on in the week. You know what I'm looking for, though. I'm looking for price to pull back, and then I'm looking to buy it. But this is going to get all shaken up here tomorrow morning. You know my levels on crude. You know what I'm looking for on crude. Last but not least here, my 32 anchor here on crude. Got a lot of stuff to work with now. I'm not quite ready to say I'm going to sell short. Again, I'm not quite there yet saying I'm ready to get short because I'm expecting something tomorrow. It's just, I can feel it, right? You got that 72-hour, news cycle. They're going to find something to make a crisis tomorrow morning. We got the FOMC, we got the rollover, we got the inventories. Jeez Louise. The fact that I'm even thinking about trading this market right now means I am just as crazy as you think I am, if not more. So this is a disaster waiting to happen. I'm definitely bearish in the short term right now, but with all those variables tomorrow, how can I possibly be confident in telling you direction? So let's be ready for anything. If price goes sideways, what do? Find the highs, find the lows, buy the lows, sell the highs, don't fiddle with the middle. What if price goes higher? Because that may happen. I'm telling you right now, we may get that news flash, right? You know what I'm talking about. So if price goes higher, I want to get through this area here first, 107.49 to 107.32. Then I'm buying above it. All right? Do not buy into that resistance here, 107.49 to 107.32. Okay? Wait to get through it and then buy it on a pullback. If you're a student with me in the trade room, you know my attitude. I do not buy breakouts to the highs. I always wait for a pullback. So if you do go to new higher highs, wait for it to pull back. In fact, the ideal pullback will be right to 107.68. If I could buy that 107.68 after we make new higher highs, that would be ideal. Just remember, though, I'm not talking about one of these. I'm not talking about this. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about bam, pull back and go. All right? Don't try to buy this if it goes to 107.69 and then pulls back one tick. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking it goes to 108, then pulls back. Then I'll buy it. All right? I want to see what we call a healthy pullback. Right? We talked about that today in the room. So if price goes sideways, buy lows, sell highs. If price goes higher, look for it to get through this area here and then buy that pullback. It would be great to buy the 107.68. That would be ideal. If price goes lower, it's going to be all about personality. If price goes lower tomorrow, it's going to be all about personality. Why do I say that? Because as you saw today, we went and grinded lower, we jumped up and then collapsed. If we collapse, I'm going to sell short. But if we just grind lower, right, like the 405 freeway at 3:30 in the afternoon of Friday, if we grind lower like a traffic jam and it just won't get out of its own way, that's a different personality. All right? Again, because tomorrow is inventory day, because tomorrow is rollover day, anything can happen, but I'm not expecting a very good personality tomorrow morning going lower. I'm just not. If it collapses, I'll be running right with it. But if it grinds lower here, I'll be more inclined to be a buyer. All right? And again, if I'm talking market personality and you don't follow what I'm talking about, come see me tomorrow morning in the room. What are you waiting for? You already know this stuff makes money. If you've been watching my newsletter for anything more than the last 24 hours, you already know this stuff makes profit. So what are you waiting for? Why are you throwing your money out the window by trying to do it on your own? Right? Get a coach. It's simple. All right? I'll take my 14 years experience, I'll give it to you, and you'll make money with this stuff. It's easy as long as you follow the plan. So be careful tomorrow on crude. If price goes lower and we start selling short, I've got targets waiting for me below. But again, I'm telling you right now, though, it's probably going to be easier as this price goes lower to wait for it, end of the morning, end of the afternoon, and then right back up. It all depends on, again, it's so difficult for me right now to tell you for crude tomorrow because of the Wacky Wednesday, the rollover, the inventories, FOMC announcement. All right, I know I'm a broken record here this evening. All right, guys. So if there's one thing we learned today, that is be careful tomorrow. Nobody's going to be upset if you don't take a trade tomorrow. Nobody's going to care if you don't take a single trade tomorrow. All right? There's no medal for the amount of trades you take. There's no winning prize tomorrow for the most number of round turns. So don't be a hero. We've made a bunch of money this week so far. Don't go blowing it all tomorrow on FOMC day. All right? We've had a great week so far. Have a fantastic Wacky Wednesday. Have a great FOMC day. And again, don't forget, come out and see me tomorrow morning in my trade room. And I'll give you guys some real-time updates on what I'm seeing at that time. Back over here to SchoolOfTrade.com. Don't forget to check out the free trial. I offer more information in my free trial than most people have to pay for. I'll prove it to you. Check it out. Last but not least here, we offer 3 levels of membership: beginner, intermediate, and advanced. We offer lifetime memberships, everything you could possibly need: charts, tools, indicators, templates, all the ongoing training, full-time tech support, live trade room. It's all included with your advanced membership. All right? Don't forget to come out and see me tomorrow morning in the trade room. Don't forget to share this with a friend, and be careful tomorrow. And have a happy FOMC day tomorrow, and we'll make sure we keep it wacky for Wacky Wednesday. Guys and gals, my name is Joseph James. Thank you so much for putting up with me tonight. We'll see you guys tomorrow morning in the trade room, 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Adios, amigos. Bye-bye for now.